You know the feeling. Out of nowhere, the perfect solution, a killer melody, or a brilliant idea strikes. It is an intoxicating rush. You feel a sense of absolute ownership over it. The idea is fresh, and most importantly, it belongs entirely to you. But there is a catch. You may not have invented it at all. Psychologists call this cryptomnesia. It is a specific type of memory failure where you recall information you learned in the past, but fail to recognize it as a memory. Your brain is playing an elaborate trick. It unearths an old, forgotten observation, strips away the where and when of the original experience, and presents it to your conscious mind as a brand new discovery. It raises a haunting possibility that some of our most original breakthroughs are actually the result of a quiet, subconscious theft. To understand how this happens, think of your memory as a massive warehouse. It's remarkably good at storing data, but deeply lazy about how it files it. When you hear something, your brain stores the content, but it must also store the context, the details of where and when it happened. Maintaining tags takes energy. Over time, the brain breaks that link. The context dissolves, leaving the content isolated. Years go by. That orphaned memory drifts into your subconscious, completely forgotten by your conscious mind. When you later go to create something, your brain searches for inspiration and finds this file. Because it feels familiar but has no origin tag, your brain mistakes this ease of retrieval, this cognitive fluency, for a fresh, original epiphany. This isn't just a theory. Psychologists have repeatedly induced this exact error in controlled laboratory environments. In this 1989 study, participants generated words in a group. Later asked to produce completely new examples, the results were striking. Up to 9% of the time, participants inadvertently repeated another's idea, claiming it as their own invention. Even when trying to be original, our brains have a systematic tendency to recycle the past without our permission. In the creative world, this biological quirk can lead to what we might call the sincere thief, an artist legally guilty, but biologically innocent. The most famous casualty of this glitch was former Beatle George Harrison. In 1970, he released the global hit My Sweet Lord. Not long after, he was sued by the publishers of He's So Fine, a 1963 hit by the Chiffons. They argued the melodies were too similar to be a coincidence. Harrison was stunned. He testified he composed the song himself and had no conscious memory of the Chiffons track while he was writing. This is the court's final ruling. Judge Richard Owen concluded Harrison indeed internalized the melody years earlier. Though believing Harrison didn't copy the song on purpose, he held him liable for subconscious plagiarism. This highlights a harsh reality in copyright law. In many legal systems, your brain's biological innocence is often treated as irrelevant to the question of whether an infringement occurred. These artists aren't necessarily lying. Their brain robs the past, wipes its own fingerprints, and sells the goods back to the person who thought they were inventing them. This memory error points to a larger truth about how we actually invent things. When Helen Keller was accused of the same crime at age 11, Mark Twain wrote a fierce letter in her defense. Twain argued that the very idea of originality is a misunderstanding. He claimed that virtually every human utterance is just a collection of second-hand ideas drawn from a million outside sources. In this view, our creativity isn't a strike of lightning from a void. It is a process of unconscious remixing. Our brains take fragments of everything we've ever seen and heard, and when we forget where they came from, we call it inspiration. So the next time you have a brilliant breakthrough, ask yourself, is this truly a new thought, or just a beautiful memory you happen to forget? If you want to explore more hidden traps of the human mind, subscribe and walk this unwritten path with us.